Developing a critical voice in your coaching. Picture two different scenarios. Scenario one, a coach says to the client, "You keep sabotaging yourself. You need to stop making excuses and take action." Scenario two, a coach says, "I'm noticing a pattern where opportunities arise and then something seems to get in the way of taking action. I'm curious about what might be happening there." Same observation, completely different delivery, and most likely completely different results. How you phrase your observations can make the difference between a defensive reaction and a breakthrough insight. Your critical voice, the way you communicate your analytical thinking, can either open doors or shut them tight. Today I want to show you how to develop a critical voice that invites clients into deeper exploration rather than putting them on the defensive. Having a critical voice in coaching means communicating your analysis clearly and objectively, helping clients see multiple perspectives without undermining their agency or making them feel judged. The Open University Guide talks about several key elements of an effective critical voice. Set the context. Give background information before diving into analysis. Use examples. Move between concrete examples and broader principles. Establish themes. Identify patterns that help clients see the bigger picture. Link ideas. Connect different aspects of a client situation to show relationships between them. When developing your critical voice, you also need to pay attention to your choice of language. Use tentative language like "it appears that" or "I'm wondering" rather than definitive statements. Balance perspectives. Offer multiple ways of looking at a situation to help with understanding and communication. Acknowledge limitations. Recognize that you don't know everything and you can't determine everything. Signposting. Use transitions that guide clients through your thinking process. Your goal is to share your observations in a way that invites the client to think alongside you, not to feel analysed or judged by you. Let's look at how this plays out in a real coaching conversation. Example 1, setting context before analysis. Instead of "you need to delegate more," try, "when we look at leaders who are successful, scale their impact, one pattern that emerges is strategic delegation. Given what you've shared about your workload and team, I'm wondering how delegation might fit into your approach." Example 2, using examples to illustrate patterns. Instead of "you always put others' needs before your own," try, "I've noticed something interesting in the examples you've shared, like postponing your vacation for your colleague's project and taking on your partner's responsibilities when they're stressed. There seems to be a pattern of prioritising others' needs over your own. I'm curious how you see that." Example 3, establish themes in client behaviour. Instead of "your fear of rejection is holding you back," try, "as we've talked about your career decisions, networking approaches, and even some personal relationships, I'm noticing a theme that might be worth exploring. There seems to be a concern about how others might respond if they don't like your ideas or choices. What do you think about that? How does that land with you?" Example 4, linking different aspects of a situation. Instead of "your communication style is causing conflict within your team," try, "I'm seeing a potential connection between the communication challenges you mentioned with your team and the values you described earlier about efficiency and results. I wonder if it's worth exploring the connection and see it offers some insight into the situation." Again, notice how these approaches create space for clients to engage with your observations rather than defend against them. Now it's your turn to develop your critical voice. Here's what I want you to take away. Practice reframing direct statements as thoughtful observations, maybe even gentle questions. Instead of "you should," try, "one approach to consider might be." Instead of "your problem is," try, "what I'm noticing is." Instead of "you always," try, "there seems to be a pattern of." Incorporate these elements into your coaching language. Context setting. Given what we've discussed about, examples. For instance, when you mentioned themes. A pattern I'm noticing across these situations is, and linking. How might this relate to what you said earlier about, and your homework? Record yourself in a coaching session, with permission of course, or practice with a fellow coach, a peer. Listen for moments when you make direct statements or analyses. Write down 3 to 5 alternative ways you could have phrased these observations using the principles we've discussed. Practice these new phrasings until they become natural for you. Remember, developing a critical voice isn't about softening your impact. It's about creating a delivery that allows your insight to be received rather than rejected. Your observations can be just as powerful, but when delivered with a skillful critical voice, they're much more likely to create transformation. If you've got any questions or thoughts about how you might develop your critical voice in your coaching, pop them in the comments section. I'd love to hear how you're getting on. Good luck, everyone. Cheers.